Fat Mouth, back with another one. And today, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be continuing our manhood topic. This will be part two. And so, um, the angle that we're going to be attacking today is the woman's role in the impact that a woman has in bringing up young men. And a few things that I want to focus on is compassion, um, empathy are one of my main two, and also the expression of love, right? So when we're talking about compassion for one another, um, I feel like with young men, that's one of the key points that a lot of young men struggle with is being able to see another person and actually not necessarily feel sorry for them, but I think that kind of goes into with empathy, but compassion more so just coming from an understanding standpoint, right? So if someone does something to you, so let's do that. Um, Being able to turn the other cheek, being the bigger person. Um, a lot of times, as young men, we're told, if someone puts their hands on you, you resort to violence. Um, what I am saying is that I don't want that to be misconstrued with defending yourself, because I feel like defending yourself and also on the other end, showing compassion are two separate things that go along with that. Um, but knowing how to restrain yourself, knowing how to turn away from a situation that basically has no positive results coming from it. I think women have it easy when it comes to showing, young men that to be able to say, okay, look, this situation is not impacting my life in any type of positive way. Let me find another way to go about it, because women are like, basically natural nurturers. Um, it's on a high ratio. I would believe that women have, how they say, like a bigger heart. Um, when it comes in regards of looking at things from a different perspective from that standpoint. Um, and being able to instill that in a young man's mind, I think definitely helps in the larger picture, which is, I feel, the first step in ending world violence. Because I think the ultimate goal is for the world to reach a level where everyone is working together. Everyone has compassion towards one another, have more of an understanding, um, instead of just reacting based on emotions. Um, I think what would lead into that as well is to empathize with one another. Um, that goes with the understanding standpoint of the compassion, is to be able to view someone's situation and to know where they're coming from, and that could be their backstory, like how did they grow up. I have a young gentleman that I could say in some regards I mentor through basketball, and he has a lot of issues at home that he's dealing with, and a lot of times that carries over into basketball. So being in the position that I am in, to be able to view his situation, understand that he reaches out to me, you know, um, being of age, I've learned, how to empathize with others and to show some type of level of compassion. And instead of lecturing him, you know, I come from a more of an angle of trying to relate to him, um, because at the end of the day, we're trying to change the mindset. Every topic that I try to talk on is definitely about changing the mindset. It's not about changing the person because you don't want to lose your individuality, but changing the mindset, having another level of perspective about certain topics. Um, so going into that, that's always my objective, is to try to change his mindset about whatever it is that's bothering him at that current moment, and to get him to see that, okay, when you're playing a very competitive sport, emotions are going to run high. There are going to be instances where it's just, look, this does nothing for me. We can talk. We can, if you want to yell back and forth, okay, whatever. That's, what you feel you need in order to get your point across. But I'm not going to engage any further than that. And to allow a person to see that, sometimes that could be life changing in itself. To see that a person has not engaged with something that you might be actually used to. You might be used to the fighting and the arguing back and forth and things of that sort. And sometimes it can catch you off guard when you're not actually met with that same type of energy. And sometimes, it could be life changing where within that instance, when you go home, you think to yourself like, dang, what am I doing? Why am I this way? You get what I'm saying? And I think that those two, being able to have compassion and to show empathy, is definitely something to impact on these young men. And like I said again before, I don't think anyone better to do the job. Also being reinforced by the male figure are women, because I feel like that's something that naturally comes to women. And I think what hinders a lot of women in this day and age has to do with a lot of women having to raise these men by themselves, and trying to balance between a man being a man. A lot of times that gets pushed to the front for when you're raising young men, and this, what they consider softer side, the compassion and the empathy, that kind of like takes a back seat to the full foundation of raising a young man. Is it fair? No, but a lot of times you have to do what you have to do for what you feel you have to do. And to me, that's completely understandable. I came up with a single mom. I did have a father figure, I had a stepdad, but he was working a lot. So, he was out paying the bills. So, my mom worked as well, but she had more of the time with us throughout my childhood. So, understanding her role for me, I had to grow up very early, in a sense. Mentally, I matured a lot faster than my siblings and even, those around me, because I learned at an early stage how to become a sponge and to pick from other sources, as far as the wisdom that was surrounding me. And I grew from that extremely fast. So I picked up that, my mom was doing the best that she could in raising a man. So I took it upon myself to meet her halfway. And that was to figure out certain parts of life that I was able to comprehend at whatever age it was that I was, experiencing those experiences, for lack of a better word. So when you have a single parent, a single mom, again, it is extremely tough to raise a man, a young man, into a man, while trying to incorporate both sides, both the female side that comes natural, which is the nurturing, and then the male side, which is the protector. and trying to make sure that the young man understands both roles play a very constructing, impacting, um, in what regards to making a man complete. And that's what I feel. I feel you have to have both sides. Kind of how they say, being able to be street smart and book smart, make you the ultimate hustler. I feel like having, like I said, the side of the woman and the side of the man, as far as the mentality goes and how they attack certain situations, being able to have both components uh, meshed together, create, the ultimate human. Um, and then lastly, I want to speak on the woman's role in still reminding that it is okay for a man to tell another man that they find to have some type of impact on their life, whether it's a father figure, a best friend, a cousin, an uncle, being able to tell them that they love them without feeling that is quote unquote gay. And it was something that I've dealt with myself as a young man, even into manhood. Um, that wasn't actually stressed to me by my own mother. Um, it just took something within me over the years to eventually grow out of the stigma behind telling another man, like my best friends, like, hey man, I love you, brother. And being able to say that without having any type of conviction or feeling any type of way, just it being a natural and genuine, organic feeling to be able to tell another man that. And for them to reciprocate that, that to me, I felt like that was a breakthrough. And I think that more men need to reinforce this, but I think it also starts with the women being able to enforce, if that child has siblings, to continue all the way up. Because what I've noticed is that when we're dealing with kids, we tell, hey, tell your brother you love him, tell your sister you love her, and it starts to deteriorate as they get older, to where that's no longer a requirement. And I think that we do the children a disservice when we do that, because we are creatures of habit. And if we're no longer continue to make those type of practices, we kind of lose sight of that. So I definitely feel like women continuing to install that, look, baby, it's okay to tell, another man or a friend that you love them, and find it, your own way of being able to get that point across to where they understand it. You know what I mean? And again, I feel like men should also be rearing that same rhetoric to these young men. I have a few guys. I would say not many, maybe about two or three of my friends that I actually consider like brothers of mine, that I could actually say, hey man, I love you, brother, and not feel a way about it, and actually really mean that. And that's based on the actions that they've shown me over the years, that without a shadow of a doubt, like I know this person is going to have my back. You know what I mean? And when you can say that about someone in your life, I feel like it should come easy to be able to express your love for another man, and not feel some type of way, or not fall into the societal trap of the mental box that we constantly put ourselves in, or in saying, man, oh, that's gay, or no homo, bro, but I love you. Like, if you shouldn't have to put a disclaimer on your love. You know what I mean? It's bad enough that we're already fighting with each other. Let's try to break the chains and the bonds mentally that society has over us. to express, that affection for another man, um, that a genuine love that you have for another man. I feel like that's another step in the direction of eliminating this violence that we have on a day-to-day basis. I have a lot of guys that I went to war with in Afghanistan, and we made a lot of bonds, but at the same time, I love the person next to me. Because if I didn't, you get what I mean? Who's to say that they're gonna have my back? But I trusted that they did because of the action that they showed prior to. So women, y'all play a huge role in the upbringing of these young men, more than you know. Fellas, the actions that these women are taking, we have to be behind them 100%. We're not raising soft men, we're raising complete humans. You have to change the mindset in order to really make an impact. So yeah. And as always, that fat mouth. So many years they told you what to watch, but now it's your turn. The people. Until next time.